Hi everybody, Drea here with a live stitch out for Tablescapes. I want to show you what we'll be working on today. Part of my clinking with my silverware. We'll be stitching out this really adorable utensil holder. So this is all done in the hoop. You don't have to do any sewing. There are 2 files that we'll be stitching out, and then you too can have your own Tablescapes utensil holder. So if you haven't heard of this collection, it is absolutely adorable and has a lot of different files and different techniques within it. So today we're doing this specific utensil holder, but there's also lace that's freestanding in here. There are some coaster designs. There's some really cute things that you can use in different combinations to make some great table settings or some home decor. Now today we'll be stitching out the fall themed utensil holder. So it has this really cute pumpkin and floral and leaf pattern. But don't worry, Tablescapes has designs for all year, every season. So it's a very versatile collection. And if you don't already have it, it did come in this beautiful September All Access issue. So it is included in this, or you can get it separately. It is on sale right now. This is a beautiful full collection. It's normally $70, but it is on sale right now for right about $40. So you can get it for half off and get all these goodies. And don't worry, we'll talk about that a little bit more as we keep going. Just wanted to get everyone, make sure everyone's on. Tell us hello, where you're watching from. I see some people checking in from all over the place. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you tell us hello. We want to know that you're here. And remember, if you're coming in later or if you feel like you're missing something or have to take a pause, you can watch this again later. So you can check this out on our YouTube channel. You can find it on Facebook. This video will live on forever and you can watch at any time if you miss anything.
I did pin the collection.
Perfect. So I have my lovely ladies here, Lauren and Madison, that are here, and Lauren has pinned this collection so you can find that easily on our website. So just follow that Tablescapes link if you want to check it out. Now the first step that we will be doing, if you happen to have this tutorial, we're on the creating the utensil holder section. If you don't have it, that's okay, because I'm going to tell you exactly what we're doing. But the first thing that all of our collections include, this beautiful picture tutorial gives you the step-by-step of what to do. Now, right up under that first picture, we'll always tell you the file that we're loading, and we'll tell you what stabilizer to hoop. So today's project uses a tearaway stabilizer, so it's papery. This one is kind of a medium soft tearaway, so it's not super crinkly. It's relatively soft, but it still has that good tear factor. And I do have a piece pre-hooped here in my machine, just to save a little time. We want to make sure you see all the good stuff, but we don't want to spend too much time on the tedium. So we've started out, we have our back file loaded. Now, when we create these beautiful designs, like I said, there are 2 files. So the first portion, this back piece is made separately. This way, there's one back file that fits all the designs, super easy, but this way it's finished on front and back of both parts. We didn't want anything to be hanging out or any bobbin stitches to show, so this back file, super easy. And then the second hooping will make this front file. So let's get started. For right now, I have a darker color thread in my machine, so you can see what I'm doing. It's typical that you would want to match something to your fabric. So I have my fabric here that we'll be using. I have my tearaway stabilizer hooped, and I have my back file loaded. Remember, it's important to make the back file first. So TSU back, we'll go ahead and get started. First step, we always give you is a placement stitch. So it's going to show you exactly where to place whatever it is that you need to place. And again, I just picked a darker color so we can kind of see it on camera. So if you're not familiar with our designs, and I'm sure most of you are, our placement stitches always go around one time. That's just to show you an outline or a guideline to follow. Later, you'll see our tacking stitch, when it comes in, it goes around twice just to make sure everything is nice and secure. So that is intentional. Now, in this tutorial, if you happen to be reading it, we give you the exact recipe for what we did. You can always change it up a little bit if you need to, but just be very mindful that our recipe is successful. Just like if you're baking that cake, you don't want to tweak anything too much, you might get a mess. So it says here, you run your first step, we have our placement stitch. The next thing, it says with wrong sides together, fold your longer piece of base fabric. Now, I'm tweaking it a little bit. I have 2 pieces that are a perfectly adequate size. That will work just fine. You don't have to fold it. You can use 2 pieces if you want, completely up to what you have on hand. The thing that you do want to make sure is that in this picture and here, you'll see that you want to make sure you have your wrong sides together. So this fabric that we're using has a print, and on the back is just very plain. So you want your wrong sides together. Whether you folded it, if you had 1 piece, you would fold it down. If you have 2 pieces, you'll place them wrong sides together. I believe we have a question.
Can you let them know what page and your all?
Oh, absolutely. If you are in All Access, the September issue here, I'm on page 72. So if you would like to follow along, 72 in the All Access, and I am on letter step C on page 72. So again, in the tutorial, we used 1 long piece. If you've chosen to do that, pretend this is together. You would just take it and fold it down. I am choosing to put, again, wrong sides together. That way you have just like this. So I'll be placing this, covering my placement stitches. You always want to make sure your placement stitches are covered. We have obviously more fabric than we need, and that is the safest bet. For right now, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want everything good and covered. I'm making extra sure. Nothing like doing it wrong on live TV here, live camera. All right. So now you run your next machine step, which is a tacking stitch. Again, this color doesn't really matter. I'm using something a little darker so you can see it. And you can see the shape of the design coming together here. At the very top, you'll see a little marking stitch. This is so you know exactly where to cut. So this little stitch on the outside, that is not a mistake. That's a marking stitch, so you know exactly what to do in the next step. All right, my tacking stitch is completed. And I'm going to take this hoop out very carefully for 2 reasons. 1, so I can reach, and 2, so you can see what we have going on here. So we have our fabric, we have our placement and our tack down, and there are some marking stitches up here in the little corners, little section here. So if you'll look, if you're in your tutorial, you'll see that we have completed step D, which is our tacking stitch, and step E says use a pair of scissors to trim only between the marking stitches. So what that means, just cut this top part. You're going to need down here for seam allowance, so you're just going to trim the very top edge. Nice and easy. So we're going to go ahead and trim out just the top section. I'm cutting right up to the marking stitch, and I'll make sure you can see trimming around that top curve. Anything that you have in the bottom areas and along the lower sides of your design, even if it's a lot extra like I have, for right now we're going to leave that in place. Again, just trim the top portion. So you can see I trimmed only around the upper portion of my design. I did not cut anything down here. Even though this is way more seam allowance than I need, it's always easier to trim it out later than to try to figure out how to put it back on. All right, so nice and easy. Carefully putting our hoop back in the machine. Everything is trimmed. Looks like step F. Double checking, looks good to me. The next step is a satin stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and change out my thread because I want it to look closer to the fabric. You could use a coordinating thread or a different color thread here, but I'm picking one that's a little closer to my fabric, just for the sake of matching. We like to match here to Need a Good Design. Sometimes, sometimes not. All right, so I've changed out my thread, and I'm running that last machine step, which is a satin stitch along that top curve. Super simple. This one is nice and easy. So while this satin stitch is completing, I know you're very, very excited to be here. I'm going to look in some of these questions. I see some comments. Somebody said, thanks for the page number. Absolutely. This is a beautiful collection. Oh, I agree. These are really, really fun. So I want to show you while this is stitching some of the designs that are in here too. Now, I do have that all access. This is the one that we're working on here, and you can see the coordinating lace that comes with it. There are some really, really beautiful designs, and there's this freestanding coaster here too. Now, just because it's freestanding doesn't mean you can't embroider it on something else too. You could absolutely put this onto a shirt or a towel or anything that you possibly would want to. And it's not just fall. So there's a Christmas set, there's a spring set. There's some really pretty designs for all seasons in this collection. So remember, this is Tablescapes, and we're working on the fall one because we're ready for fall. How about you? Are you guys ready for fall? I like summer, but I'm ready for change now. It's about that time. All right, my satin stitch, oh, that was fast, wasn't it? My satin stitch is complete. So now what I'll be doing is taking this, just like it says in the tutorial, kind of placing it to the side. So I don't need this right now. I would carefully remove it from the hoop. And yes, we use a little bigger hoop than we need to. It's easier to see. And then you would just tear away any of this extra stabilizer, maybe save it for your next project. And then you have this beautiful back file. Now, when it comes to tearing things out of stabilizer, if you use a tear away, you don't want to just go willy-nilly and rip it. Sometimes it's easiest to trim with scissors and then pull out accordingly. But if you pull too hard, you might rip some of your stitches. So keep that in mind. Don't get too excited when you're ripping out. Now, I have my back file complete, nice and easy. Moving that to the side. I'm now going to load the second file. So if you're in that tutorial, if you flip on over to page 74, it'll tell you to hoop a fresh layer of tearaway stabilizer, nice and easy, and then load the front file of your choice. Remember, this back file fits any of the other designs, even if their shape's a little different on the front, you're just making that back portion. So I'm going to load my design here, and this design we're selecting is TSUA1, so it's the fall one. Really pretty. And I'm loading that design here so you can see exactly what's going on. Now, while I rehoop a nice new piece of stabilizer, I know you already know, it seems like prize time to me, right? So your prize word, your keyword for the day is utensil. Spell it the best way you can. If you're not great at spelling, we know what you mean. So for your prize, you'll be winning a $20 virtual gift card to our website. So you can get some goodies or use it towards some bigger goodies. Your word to type in the comments is utensil. And remember, if you're not watching this video live, we've given away our goodies. But if you are live right now, get to type in. We're ready to give you something. All right, we're looking for some utensils popping up. Miss Linda, did you put backing on the fabric? We did. This one, we're just careful and we like to back our fabric. We use any of the iron-on stabilizers, different weights of Pellon. You don't have to because it's very limited stitching, but if you want to be careful, it definitely will never hurt you. Oh, I see lots of utensils popping up. Lots and lots. Here we go. Utensil, utensil. Oh boy. We're going to give you another minute or two to get going while I get situated over here. Utensil, utensil. Now I'm not picking. One of my ladies behind the scenes is going to decide who our winner is. We'll see. We're all looking at each other. Who's it going to be? We're making Lauren decide. Let's see. All right, we have a winner. Here we go.
Elaine Hurlbut.
Elaine Hurlbut, you are the winner of our gift card where it says congrats. This is where you want to email here on this little banner. That way we can get you your gift card. Congrats, Elaine. And we will make absolutely sure you get your gift card. So congrats. If you weren't the winner this time, don't pout too hard. There'll be some more in the future for sure. Now, I did want to mention with this first file that we stitched, I removed some of the tearaway, but there's still some here in the center. Now, the reason we placed our fabric in the very beginning, wrong sides together, was so that when you remove this tearaway, you will have the correct side of the fabric facing. That way, you don't have to worry about adding another lining fabric or trying to get everything together. You already have this inside. Now, if you were a tip-top, wonderful sewist and embroiderer, you probably would have matched your bobbin right here. But I know that I have a handy-dandy set of markers over here, one of which matches very closely to this. So if you're really worried about your bobbin showing and you didn't match your bobbin, grab a marker. It'll go away really quickly. It's nice and easy. I'll even do it on camera for you. So we have stitched our file. We have made it nice and beautiful, and we have loaded up our next file. Now, for time's sake, I know we love these live stitch outs, myself included. They are super fun, and we love being here. For time's sake, though, I have gone ahead and done a little, what we like to call pre-baking here at Anita. So if you look through this fabulous tutorial, it will show you every single step of how to make this second file. It starts out exactly like the first one did. But then it has these beautiful decorative stitches that take just a little bit of time. And I did not want to lull you all to sleep for an afternoon nap while I'm embroidering each and every one of these steps. But I know firsthand that the ladies who wrote this fabulous tutorial have made sure these steps are tip-top so you know exactly what to do. So I want to show you a little bit about the tutorial and a little bit about these directions. If you're like me and you like to look at those machine steps in the back of the book and in the back of every collection, but specifically in the back of this book, you'll see we've given you numbered machine steps for every design in here. If you want the numbered steps for this specific design, they start on page 270 in the back, and you can see exactly what we did. We even tell you the brand and the thread colors. You can do exactly what we did, or you can do your own thing, or any combination thereof. So it tells you all about the embroidery colors, tells you all about the beautiful designs and the fabrics that we chose, but we're not gonna get too sleepy here. So here's our pre-bake. Don't be mad, I promise you'd be snoring. We have gone ahead and hooped our fabric, or excuse me, hooped our stabilizer. We have followed through these beautiful steps to create our embroidery and our applique here. You can see on 74 and 75 exactly what we did. Then you can flip on over, and we have followed all the way along until we got to step S on page 76. So we did all the applique and embroidery on the front. Look how pretty this is looking. We have our beautiful fall themed fabrics here, a couple of light prints and sort of marbles. They are super pretty. Nice and tonal. Here we go, we're zooming. Thank you, Miss Madison. We are zooming so we can see just how pretty this is. Now, wasn't that fast? I did it so fast you didn't even get to see it stitch out. That's okay, we're not quite finished. So on step S, it says, let's see what comes next. Step T, it says flip over to the back of your hoop. So just like this, you would flip over to the back. And then it says, flip over, have the back facing up. So very carefully, I've done that. Make sure, especially if you're newer to embroidery, or you're like me, maybe you have a pet, make sure when you take your hoop out of the machine that you're very careful to keep it taut. The best way to get a good quality professional stitch out is to have that hooped really tightly. That way nothing's flapping around. Think about how much your machine moves with every stitch. So the next thing you'll want to do is we'll take a piece of fabric that we're going to put over the back of the design. The reason we're doing this is so when you open it up, when you're actually using this piece that we're about to place is going to go here. That way you don't have any bobbin or any applique or any back of anything showing. Everything is nice and pretty and completed. So I'm taking my fabric and I'm placing it right side up. So the pretty side is facing me on the back of my hoop, and I'll hold it up before I put it in, I promise. I'm adding in some tape because it's not going to stay by magic. If you are one who likes spray adhesive, you could spray, but we like this tape. This is pink embroidery tape. You can use any kind of tape that you prefer. I am being very generous with my tape application because I don't want it to get hung up, and I want it to be exactly as I intended it. So a little tape is your best friend. Any project that is done in the hoop completely that uses front and back fabric, we always say make sure you tape, and that is definitely a step you want to do. Most of these tapes are reusable too, so if you're worried about conserving and trying not to make extra waste, you can definitely keep it. So you can see here I've taped it, I've made sure everything is nice and flat. My favorite thing to do before I put it back in the machine is to lay it down face up and smooth everything out just in case. Now I'm taped. I'm going to put this back in my machine. And while I go forward to make sure my machine and I are at the exact same place, it's time for you to try and win another gift card. Your word is pumpkin, so type in pumpkin into those comments. Remember, this giveaway is for our live viewers. Start typing pumpkin so you can go ahead and win this $20 gift card. Pumpkin, pumpkin. We're looking for you. My pumpkin people, where are you? I'm not seeing any pumpkins pop up. Oh, here they come. Here they come. Pumpkins? Oh, here they come. It's a good flurry. We like that. Here come the pumpkins. We're watching. Oops. Okay, there we go. Whew. Make sure I was in the right spot. All right, pumpkin time. Oh, somebody said pie. Pumpkin pie sounds good to me too. It's about that time. Oh, we'll give you just another moment or two. Pumpkin, pumpkin. Oh, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Is it your turn this time? Miss Madison's gonna pick this time. We're keeping it fair.
We can do
Here we go.
Brummer.
Judy Bremer?
Yes.
All right, Judy Bremer, you're our winner. Congratulations. You have won a $20 gift card to our website. Make sure you email marketing. That way we can give you a fabulous gift. And don't worry, if it wasn't you this time, there might be one more. I'll see what I can do. All right, so I have gone ahead and I'm on step 33, just lightning fast over here. Step 33 is the tacking stitch for this back fabric. So I want to make sure everything is nice and lined up, everything is good. And I'm gonna run my tacking stitch. This is attaching the file that we made in the first hooping to this beautiful front portion. And I'm keeping it just the same color. You're not really gonna see this later, but I wouldn't do it in like a hot pink or something. So something that kind of coordinates with your fabric. And it's going to stitch all around this edge. Remember, tacking stitches go around twice to make sure everything is nice and secure. You folks are such good sports. I'm seeing all kinds of people say congratulations to both of our winners so far. I love seeing that. I know we all want to win, but I love it when we are spreading the positivity. All right. My tacking stitch has run around twice, almost. There we go. Everything is nice and lined up. And then it's going to tell me exactly what to do next. Aha! All right, so just like before, everything is nice and tacked. It's a little hard to see, but it went around the whole design on the back and the whole design on the front. Just like we did in our previous design, we're gonna trim just around this top part. Now, it might be a little difficult to see on the back, but there are very slight marking stitches here in that same place as before. We're just going to trim this top edge. Now remember, this particular top edge is slightly shaped differently. This will vary a little bit for each design, but you just want to follow that curve from the marking stitch only. And again, don't worry about any excess fabric you have at the bottom. We want to keep that in place. I'm going to move my tape out of the way. We're just going to stick it to the side. I'm sure I'll need that later. And I am trimming. So here you want to trim right up to those tacking stitches. Get yourself a good pair of double curved applique scissors or any other type you prefer. These are my favorite. And trim as tightly as you can. Any fabric that gets left kind of hanging out here might be visible above that satin stitch in the final design. So it's very important to take your time and trim closely. I'm going to do my best on camera here to make sure our finished result is beautiful. Don't get excited though. Remember not to trim along the far sides, the long edges, and the bottom. We're only trimming the top portion. All right. Everybody's trimmed. Make sure I trim down far enough. If you have any trouble seeing those marking stitches on the back, they are there. But if you have any trouble seeing them on the back, you can always note when it starts to get straight on the sides, that's where you want to stop cutting. So I've cut on the front. Front is cut, nice and pretty on the edge. Back is cut, nice and pretty on the edge. And I'm ignoring anything extra on the bottom. So I'm going to carefully put my hoop back in the machine. Always double check when you put your hoop back as well that the back fabric is still nice and flat. You don't want it to get crumply. So I left my bottom and side tape. This next machine step is step 34 of 35. We're almost done. This is the satin stitch, and it'll run along that top edge. Now, while this is stitching, I don't want to put you to sleep. I am again stitching the back. I have already, everything is getting nice and attached. Let me make sure we are good to go. Somebody said, are you attaching the back? Did I attach the back? I sure didn't. If you've never stitched live, I'll tell you what, you better make sure that you read your directions. Let me make sure I did everything I need to do here first. Okay, I have attached, I'm still good. Great day. Got nervous there. So I am following my tutorial, but my mouth is not following necessarily what I'm doing. All right, I still have this file. The back fabric is for this front piece. So technically it is the lining. Thank you for correcting me. It is technically the lining. This is the technical back piece. And Anita, anything we put on the back of the hoop, we have a tendency to call back fabric. So it is the back of this design, but this is that secondary piece from earlier. So no stress, we are good. What is going on with my presser foot here? Are you okay? I got a strange message from my machine. All right, here we go. It's fine. All right, so we're still good. Just making sure it made a weird click. Those of you who embroider a lot, I know you know when your machine makes a weird click or creak or squeak, stop, red alert, right? But we're good. Now, I have some goodies to show you. They're blocks right now. We haven't put them together, but they are super, super cute. And I want to tell you about our flash sale. So while this embroiders, flash sale time. These are some really fun Halloween blocks. They are not creepy. They are super cute. This is from the Halloween Quilting Mix and Match collection. So it's just called Halloween Quilt. Look how cute these are. And they are various angles, so you can do all kinds of things with them. There's some sparkly threads and some embroidery in here. I have a few to show you. They are so cute. The little spiders and bats. Oh my goodness, they're super, super cute. You can use them on point. You can use them directionally. You can do some really cute stuff with these. There are a couple more I want to show you. Look at this little guy. Come on, how cute is he? I can't compete with him. He's the cutest thing. So super cute Halloween quilt. It is half off. So you can get this beautiful, beautiful quilt until the 19th. It is absolutely on sale. We use some really fun applique and some really pretty sparkly. You know, we like to keep things different here. So you can get this one on sale. It is $34.95. So you can get it half off. $34.95 for this beautiful mix and match Halloween quilt. Super, super cute. Make sure you get it while it is on sale. You can do all kinds of goodies with this one. Very cute to decorate with. The link is right here. Thank you, Lauren. The link has been added. So if you're looking for this flash sale item, that link is here. And don't forget, Tablescapes is here as well. If you're tuning in a little later, or maybe you missed the beginning, Tablescapes is not just for fall. So this collection includes the coaster designs. It has the freestanding coasters. It has freestanding lace, and it has this beautiful utensil holder for multiple seasons. So they're super, super easy to make. It took us, 2 whole minutes to make this back portion, to make the pocket. And then now we have this beautiful lined front and back here. So we still have our first file, which is technically the back. And then this one is finished with what would be this lining. I have a thread tail here. Let me get him off. Goodbye, thread tail. And again, remember, any satin stitches that you may have here, match your bobbin or grab your marker. This is my little friend. I'm going to mark him up one more time so it matches. Easy as pie. I know some people would be horrified to see me doing this, but some people, y'all are 2 steps ahead of me. So we're going to make sure our bobbin is nice and matchy. This is the front and technical lining, even though it is front and back of the hoop, front and technical lining. So there's one more step in this beautiful design. And that is where this comes in handy. Now, you want to make sure, I'm going to flip back to my tutorial, just to make sure I can see everything here. Now in the tutorial, before your final machine step, it says place the finished TSU back over the design on the front of the hoop. Now the reason we do that is twofold. Number one, when you place it on the front of the hoop, this is going to be what we call a stitch and turn. The reason we do that is because when it finishes, it's going to come out with all these little raw edges. And we don't really like raw edges. Maybe you do. I don't. We don't really like raw edges here. So when it finishes, it's going to look a lot like this. And I'll show you mine as soon as it's done. But this way, you can just carefully turn it, and you don't have to do any outside hand sewing or stitching. So this way you can get a really pretty, looks like you sewed it, but your machine did it for you. I believe we have some questions. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple questions.
I love questions. Here we go.
About how long did the stitching take for the embroidery?
So let me see. So one of the tips that I like to use to see how long a design is going to take, I will look at my machine steps and see how many stitches are in this. And you also have to remember too, what else does it require you? I know you've probably looked at your machine, it says, oh, 40 to 50 minutes, but that doesn't account for you cutting or trimming or placing fabric. So you have to give yourself a little extra time. This one has 29,000 stitches and my machine says about 45 to 48 minutes total. So up or down, depending on how fast you place things, how long it takes you to change your thread. That's not a ton of stitches, but it does have a good amount of color, so it could take a little longer, depending on what machine you're doing. But very good question. I think we have some more too. Yes, ma'am.
The Halloween quilt that's your flash sale, will you let them know that that was released in 2012 before?
Yes, thank you. I did forget to say that. So this Halloween quilt, the flash sale, this came out in 2012. So this was never in all access, which means if you don't know for a fact you've already bought it, you don't have it. Halloween quilt is an oldie but a goodie. We like to show these, that way everybody can find something that they may not have at their disposal. Come on, he needs a friend. Grab that Halloween quilt while the getting is good. Half off is the best. All right, here we go. I have my hoop. Everything is nice and trimmed, giving it a double check. I'm putting my hoop back in. I have the first file that we made, this technical back file, and I'm going to place it on the top of my design. Remember, I showed you why we're placing it on top. Don't let that confuse you. It doesn't matter which way you turn it because it's the same on both sides. So I'm going to align it using my tacking stitches. What that means, these stitches that are around here, this is why I put them in a color I could see, because I'm going to align these tacking stitches with the stitch in the hoop. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to try and get as close as you can so everything is symmetrical. So here we go. I like to start at a corner and then secure that corner. Then I can work around the shape if I need to. This one's easy though, just a straight line. Remember that tape I put to the side from earlier? It's back. And I know that this design is going to tack just around this bottom portion. So I'm just going to tape any free edges, any free space that I have. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Again, with this tacking stitch, I'm keeping my same thread color. I've taped some extra spaces and I'm going to keep my eye on this. Now is not the time to walk away from your project. Even though it's a simple tack, you want to make sure it stays aligned and doesn't get hung up anywhere. So final machine step. It doesn't have to be super exact, but you want it close. And it looks like we're good to go. Home stretch. All right, that tacking stitch has been completed. My machine is going to sing me a happy little song. We turned that off. I'm going to go ahead and remove my hoop from my machine. Now your pocket, your technical back portion should be on top. You have some, if you're like me and have a bunch of extra seam allowance, that's fine. Now is the time to where we can trim. So I'm going to remove this from my hoop. Ooh, this is hooped really, really well. All right, removing it from my hoop. Moving that to the side into my pile of goodies over here. Grabbing any excess tape. And then I have my completed design. Well, this looks a little strange, but we're gonna make it really cute. So I'll remove any extra stabilizer very carefully. You can tear, you can cut, whatever works for you. So I'm removing any extra stabilizer that I have here. Remember the piece in the middle too. There might be a little bit in the center, but you want to get out as much as you can so it's not crinkly. I had someone ask in person if you could do these on wash away. You could if you really wanted to. We prefer tear away for the freestanding because it's a little more firm, but you could use wash away. If you choose to do that, I would use 2 pieces just for stability because wash away is a little flimsy. Now, everything is connected, but I have all this flappy edge. I'm going to take my scissors and leave myself a little space, maybe 1/8 of an inch at the most. You don't want to cut directly up to your stitches here because as you turn that, your seam could get a little bit stressed and you can end up with a hole. So don't cut too close, maybe 1/8 of an inch, just to be on the safe side. I'm just going to cut around this bottom portion, removing as much excess as I can, but not too close. I don't want to trim anything. Some people like to use a rotary cutter. I'm impatient and I'm going to use my scissors. Now for these bottom edges, I know most of you know, but for your corners, if you snip that at a little 45-degree angle, it'll make your corners a little easier to turn. Another suggestion too on these top edges, you might want to snip that corner as well, just to get it out of the way. I have a loose thread or two, and you can always go back if you have any tearaway fuzzies on here, you can always go back with a damp sponge, and then if you need to, get that marker back out and tamp down any extra little fuzzies. Here comes the big reveal. We're turning. We're turning. Oh my goodness, this is cute. If you have any trouble with your corners and you need to go back in and trim a little bit extra, you absolutely can. I'm gonna borrow my fork here.
Can you explain what you mean by clip the corners?
Yeah, so let me show that one more time. Someone asked if I could explain a little bit about clipping the corners. Anytime you have a layer of, more than one layer of fabric and you have pointy corners and you want them to be nice and tight, instead of just cutting at a straight edge, if you snip off, and this was a very small corner, but if you snip it at a 45-degree angle, your fabric has less bulk in that little corner and it tends to be pointier when you turn it. That's a little sewing tip that was taught to me years ago and I love doing it. So for zippered bags, anything that has a pointed corner, it'll keep it from being blunt and rounded by snipping that corner at a 45-degree angle. Just watch your stitches. All right, I'm poking out my corners here. Oh my goodness, this is cute. Couple of stray threads. Another stray thread, my goodness. It's not embroidery if you don't have a stray thread or two, folks. All right, here we go. Now, I would 100% recommend taking an iron and pressing this thing flat, but finished product, ready for utensils. Look how cute. I can prove that my utensils will fit in it. I grabbed them. I'm just gonna put a spoon and a fork and my knife. Hopefully I won't clink them. Look how cute that is. So this is now ready for your table setting. You could use these as, you know, little holiday party favors. You can do all kinds of stuff with this. Customize it and mix it up with some of the other designs in the collection. Look how cute they are. Slightly different fabric, but you can make as many of these as you need. Stuff them with little goodies. They don't even have to hold utensils. You could put a little gift card in here and some other little goodies, maybe put a little ribbon around it, and what a cute little gift holder. So you can do a lot with these. Don't forget that in your absolutely fabulous collection, there are multiple designs in here. So it's not just pumpkins. There are all kinds of goodies in here that you can really, really stitch for all seasons. So we like to have a collection that is versatile and super fun. Any other questions here? Any good little ideas or suggestions that you have? Let's see. I see a question. Somebody said, Would it work with thin batting for a bit 3D? I haven't tried that, Chris, but you could possibly put in some batting if you wanted it to have a little more puffy effect. Maybe as you were placing your pumpkin applique, you could even try some batting with that fabric. Just don't go too crazy because it can throw off your alignment. But if you do just a little bit, that would be a really fun idea. Great suggestion. Any other questions or comments? Oh, great job. Hi, Martha. Hi, Martha. We love Martha. If you all don't know, Martha is our tech support. She is great with helping give tips and tricks and solutions when people get stuck or confused. She is super fabulous. Thank you, Candy. These are so pretty. We've really had a lot of fun with them. So definitely check out this collection while it is on sale. We have it pinned, and there's some other amazing things that are going on right now too. I want to remind you of our all access back issue sale. If you're not sure what a back issue is, we have some older months that are full months of goodies that we've come out with that are currently on sale, and you can get the physical product. So 2020 is the year. You can get these months for $79 each. We never ever do this, but we wanted to do something different and something fun. So definitely go on our website and check out the all access back issue sale for 2020. You can get some months of that year that you might have missed for a crazy good deal. Yes, really, truly. There are some great deals happening right now. We want to make sure that you get all the goodies you can. Don't forget Tablescapes. Don't forget your Halloween mix and match. Super cute, perfect for fall and all the upcoming holidays. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for everyone joining us today. I've seen people from all over the world. That's awesome. We love that. And remember, if you missed it, you're tuning in late, or you know somebody who might want to watch this, or you want to make another one right here along with me, you can find this on our YouTube. You can rewatch it on Facebook. We'll have links all over the place so you can watch it as many times as you would like. And remember, we have another live stitch out on the way, so don't forget to join us.